Sounds like somebody's fighting. All right, we're gonna mute that. Okay. Hope you guys are doing well. We're gonna get started here. If you have stocks you want me to take a look at, I can do that. Um, and then we're just gonna go over, see if there's anything setting up. I got a few that I want to take a look at. So, okay. So let's jump to the weekly. So let's start here, how we always do. We're gonna go look at the put call, all that good stuff, and see what's going on in the near term. We always want to pay attention to where the put call is sitting. So that's right up here in this left-hand corner. Um, so we always want to start here because this is where we can tell where we're sitting. So we can use this one because it's easier to see and easier to track. So looking at this here, I always try to remember how can I get rid of these bars? Oh, there we go. Now I remember. Okay. Now this presents a really clear picture. Let me do this real quick on this. I'll leave them there on that one. Okay, so now when we're looking at this, this 10 day put call ratio here, it gives us good insight to see, okay, what has made us bottom in the past? What can we look for in the future? Okay, so I always kind of recap this, but people forget how important this is. So you can see here we're below 0.7, the 10 SMA. And you can see that's where we barely peaked out, made a new high, and then fell over from there and had this pretty serious sell-off, right? So from about 612 to 490, so about 120 points on the SPY. Okay. Then from there, we got to the point where we were having we were seeing extreme selling. We continued the selling until the put call got above in this area here. So when we got above 0.9, okay, so I actually like the way I did that. Okay, so when we're looking at this, when we got to above 0.9, we almost got to 1.0, but we didn't get there. That's when we bottomed out. We made a higher low and we bottomed out. Now, if we go back to these previous times where we were above 0.9, you can see here, that's when we had a saw bottom here. You can see here, that's when we saw the bottom here. And then this one here, not as significant, but is significant because we saw a bottom, right? And then you can see there's other times, like when we had this bear market here, that we ended up going in, uh, going up above one, had a short-term bounce, didn't correct, and then we had a bounce again, and then got really bearish, had one more downside move, and then we finally started to make the move up here. Okay, so that's really important. You can see when we get to that 0.9 has been really important here, here, and now here. And we've had this really crazy rally ever since. Okay, so now what we're looking for is we're headed down towards 0.7. The last time we topped out was 0.7 right here. We couldn't really make a new high here. We were at points below 0.7. And we didn't really necessarily get below 0.7 there. We did here. You can see there was a major top. So we typically want to cut out the longer term swings when we start to get there. We might get there this week. It might take a couple more weeks, but then it usually takes a couple weeks to play out for the top to set in. You're going to want to look to buy longer term puts or wait for the rollover and then trade that. Okay. So Now that we've got that out of the way, the VIX is continuing to fall. We've almost hit support here at around $17, and then we've got more support at around 15. But I'm mainly paying attention to this put call and where it could potentially bring us. Okay. So now let's go take a look at the indexes. So QQQ, looking at this one, you can see we're pretty extended. I've got the fib retracements here, and then I've got the major level of 520. Then we have 530 up here, which seem to play as significant resistance in the past. And then we've got 540, which is the all-time highs. Okay. I don't know if we're going to make it back to all-time highs before we get below zero point 0.7. If we do make all-time highs, I don't expect us to continue. I think we can start looking for a top in the markets when we get above zero point 0.7, okay? Or below zero point 0.7 on the 10-day put call, okay? So right now, I'm still bullish. I still think we're going to continue higher. Now, we did move lower. We go take a look at the futures. We moved lower this evening. We had the credit downgrade. Um, that happened earlier this week, but that's okay. It's just, or that happened on Friday. And so it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if we had to pull back to the 9 EMA. Okay. We haven't even got there. We haven't pulled back since this breakout here of the weekly 21 and then Monday and then so last week. So my kind of expectation is we're either going to have a quick flush down to it or we're going to trade sideways for a little while, try to fill this out with some consolidation after this strong up move. And then we're going to consolidate a little bit, let the moving averages catch up. So I expect this week not to be like last. Okay. That's just kind of expectation for this week. So I expect a little bit more sideways action. We go look at ES. You can see here we're coming up on 6K. I wouldn't be surprised if we stalled out here for a little while, um, and then waited for the EMAs to catch up. Same story, right? So watch for some consolidation. Watch for us to trade sideways a little bit. We can take our fibs. What's this? And this just gives us concrete price movement that we can follow through this move up or down, right? So you can see here we're holding the 786, which is a bullish sign. We're holding 5,900. Typically, when you break the 618, it gives you a move up into the 786, which as you break this level, the likelihood becomes a lot higher that you're going to continue to all-time high or back to the previous high. But then when you break the 786, it becomes even more high probability if you break out from there. Okay. So just an FYI. All right. And so keep an eye on this. I'm not too interested in the indexes this week. I think we're going to trade sideways for a little while. And then we can kind of make a decision from there. But it just needs some room or some breathing room. Like you have a consolidation, it happens the same every time. Okay. Like you have some consolidation, you have this leg down. You have some consolidation, and then you have a leg up. You have some consolidation, have a leg up. And then so we'll probably see a little bit more consolidation, wait for that 9 EMA to catch up. Notice how when we broke here, and so all through here, I've been telling you, wait to get long until you have this reversal signal. The reversal signal is pretty much always the same. You have that move, you have the leg lower. What happens is you come back and you retest the 21 EMA. So when we broke down and trended lower here, we came up, we retested the 21 EMA and then moved higher. So one of the easier signs to keep you on the right side of the market, especially if you're a swing trader, wait for the 9 to be above the 21 EMAs and then just follow the trend until it stops working. And then when it crosses over, then you shouldn't be long all in here. Just wait till we get long here. we started getting long right in here and I started trading pretty aggressively if you look back at the alerts. So usually your life is going to be easier if these EMAs are in sync with what you're looking to do. Okay. So with all that being said, taking a look at kind of the market and what we're seeing here is I'm seeing some more than likely sideways action. Maybe we continue to fill out this 4 hour squeeze, right? Maybe we get some more buy signals here. Like there was 4 hour buy signals there on ES, 4 hour buy signals there on ES, 4 hour buy signals here on ES. So it's given some pretty solid opportunities here. There didn't work out. There gave a pop. There gave a pop. That one not as great. But we can use these 4 hour signals as well, or we can just wait on the daily. So this last move came as a result of the daily squeeze firing off to the upside. Don't remember if it was in SPY as well, but yep, there was a daily squeeze in SPY, fired off to the upside, and then that triggered this move. So same thing here. Daily squeeze, it fired us off to the downside. Daily squeeze fired us off to the downside. Daily squeeze fired us off to the upside. So just pay attention to these squeezes. They're telling the story for you. We're getting ready to make a big move. Okay, then we make a big move. Then you got to wait for the next one. We're getting ready to make a big move. Then we made a big move. Then we waited for the next one. Made a big move. Waited for the next one. Made a big move. It's just literally all you have to do is read these dots. Okay. And that will give you the indication for the market. Right now, we're already making the move. Okay. So this is a spot where you start to de-risk. That's what we've been doing. Now, that's why I've been going to shorter term trades like Uber, where we took Uber on Friday. We got in it was right here. We got in right here on Thursday, uh, and then got out for 65% on this move up here, and it was just plain and simple. Now I've got Palantir, which I would guess is probably going to gap down some tomorrow based on the current price action, but that's okay because what we're looking for is just simply we sized for that because of based on the market conditions. But when we start to get all extended like this on SPY and QQQ, you got to trade those shorter term setups and hope that the market or look for the market to follow through as long as you think that's going to happen. When it stops following through, you start to lose some momentum. That's when you're going to wait and then you get into your swing trades. That's why we haven't really been seeing any much daily setups, right? So that's the explanation for SPY. Continue to play the momentum until it's lost, but play it through relative strength names because I think it's going to start to get choppy this week. If I could give you it in one sentence right there, that's what I'd be saying. Follow the momentum. Be aware that there may be a pullback in size for it, and then continue to play the momentum in relative strength stocks. Okay, so let's roll through and talk about a few of those relative strength names. Apple, not one of them. NVIDIA, probably one of them. Let's see. I want to check and see how far we off from all-time highs. Oops. So distance from all-time highs currently 11%, which is decent, but Microsoft is more of a standout. Okay. So looking at Microsoft, you can see we are about 3% off of all-time highs. This is one of my top setups that I'm paying attention to this week. This one is one of the nearest ones to all-time highs. It has relative strength, had a great earnings report, beat, and you can see that was coincided with the price action. You go down, we had some nice 30-minute squeezes. We had a nice 15-minute buys here. Um, I don't know what the 1 hour looked like. Nope, nothing on the 1 hour. So usually what I lean towards is those 15-minute and 30 minutes. You can see those presented some pretty good opportunities. Um, so that's what I'm going to continue to look for in Microsoft. So tomorrow we gap down. One of the first things I'm going to be looking at is Microsoft. Continue through here. Amazon following the market kind of. Google rejecting the weekly 21, which is that line right there. Tesla is another one that I really want to pay attention to. Now, this isn't necessarily a relative strength one, but it is one that is trading at a key psychological level. Okay. So, if you guys have been following along with me about the setting up the automated trading bot, this did take Tesla calls in here on Friday. So it did end up buying some Tesla calls. I think it was a week out, maybe two. To have to check. But so this is a prime setup. I'm looking for this. This is your kind of classic pattern. If you were in the mentorship and you remember you've got the strong leg up, you're building higher lows, you've got a squeeze, price action is getting tighter, and you've got that flat top to break out of, and you got those buy signals. It's a clean setup, right? So this might gap down with the market, but give it some room to breathe. If you're looking for it to break out past 350, if it breaks through 350, you'll be at 360 at like a blink of an eye. Okay. So Tesla, definitely keep an eye on this one. Volume's continuing to pour in. You can see the bulls are definitely in control. We've got a lot of activity going on here. And so yeah, just definitely keep an eye on this one. We don't have too much resistance here. You break 350, and this 50%, we're moving to 385 relatively quickly. Okay. So that's another one that's on the top watch. All right. AVGO. This one is better, a lot better than NVIDIA, I must say. It's over 9% off the highs, but you can see the price action is a lot more constructive. We've got a weekly squeeze. We do have earnings coming up a couple weeks, it looks like. So this may be a candidate to play a run in earnings. Meta. This one had news. All it did was pull back to the AEMA, one of the first ones to do so. So maybe we get some sideways action in this one and we can get a 4-hour buy signal. That would be awesome. We haven't got one of those in a while. And you can see here's 4-hour buy signal. Nice move up. 4-hour. Nice. 4-hour. Nice. That's what I want to be looking for. Okay. So I would love to see another 4-hour buy signal on Meta. This one looks good as well. I need to put that indicator back on where it tells me how far it's off of the highs, but 13% there. Netflix. This is definitely one of the top relative strength names here. So keep an eye on this one. This did have a 4-hour squeeze. Never presented a very good entry, but it did have some pretty good setups here on the 15. 30-minute just had a squeeze. 1 hour, not too much. Let's check the 2-hour. Yeah. But so maybe play a 15-minute. This one's a little more extended. It's kind of made its move, but the 4-hour just fired. So you can look for continuation in this name. It is at almost at 1200. So watch out for that. That might be a key level to break. So that's key resistance there. So my main watch is keep up with Netflix, keep up with Microsoft, keep up with Tesla. Those are the ones that I'm paying attention to going into this week for the big cap or large cap names. Okay. Then IWM, not too much to say there. Here's your list of leaders that you may want to pay attention to right here. These look really great. So keep an eye on these. Palantir, we talked about this one a little bit. This breaks 130. It should head to 140 really quickly. The reason I like this one is because we had this fib retracement here, this big cup and handle pattern, but you can see here how we had this retracement and we've broke the 100%. So I think as long as we stay above this previous high and maintain this 8 EMA, I think we should see a move to the 1272 pretty quickly, which lines up with pretty much 140. Okay. So that one looks great. Netflix, we talked about. I'm going to add Tesla. We talked about Microsoft. Yeah. So one moment. Yeah. So Tesla, we're going to want to throw up here. Other relative strength names that look great. Roblox, this one, weekly squeeze, hasn't fired yet. Solid earnings report, very solid. Nice beats. So this one, you can see a clear stage one breakout, and then now we've entered into stage two. And so continue to play this one. I think this could be a $100 stock pretty quick. as long as the momentum keeps up. So shorter term, it's hard to call price targets based on the put call ratio that we discussed. So when this gets oversold, I'm not going to be too excited about the upside anymore. Just keep that in mind. IWM, or wait, IBM, sorry. So this one broke out. Nice weekly squeeze on this one. Reached new highs. Look for the 1272. Look for continuation in this one. I do like this one a lot. Has a 30-minute squeeze here. Let's check the 15-minute. So the 15-minute did have some buy signals. And yeah, looks pretty good there. Looks good. So keep an eye on this one. Strong momentum there. Um, Earnings report was pretty solid. Let's see. Uber, we played this one. I think need to give this a little bit of time, but look for the next 30-minute setup. Bitcoin. Now, this is definitely my biggest position. As you guys know, we've talked about this very extensively. We bought originally back here, we bought shares of IBIT. So first buy signal here, we got in, traded this one to the upside. So I am looking for a new all-time high. I took a little bit off, 20% of my position at 100K. But then we recently just added uh we added calls on Thursday for IBIT in this consolidation right here. So I'll show you why. It was off the Bitcoin futures chart. So you can see, yeah, this is pumping. So nice move after hours. Yep. So we got in on this candle right here, kind of sat and waited, and then boom, nice move up. So that's where we got in. And now I'll see how our contracts are doing tomorrow, but I am really looking for a move into all-time highs. I'll be using this to track the move into all-time highs. But we're getting into a little bit of resistance. Once we break this, it should fly right through. The only thing is it's a little extended. We're at 2.5 ATR, but I think we may just drift up into all-time highs. But this, as long as it holds, this should be a really nice trade in Bitcoin or an IBIT we took on Thursday. So good way to start the week. MSTR, that one will move with Bitcoin. This one does have a nice 4-hour squeeze. So you can see it's rejecting right at the 618. So if we can maybe pick this up this week, it's probably going to be up big with Bitcoin up. So we'll have to evaluate that in the morning. So crowd, I do like this one. You can see we've got nice 4-hour squeeze. If we get a gap down, probably think this is worth picking it up because then June, we've got earnings on June 3rd, but this one is really close to all-time highs. So, and this has been a relative strength name here. So if we look at this, yeah, we're 3% off of all-time highs. I think it's worth buying some like 360 calls and just sitting on them and looking for, okay, can we run into earnings? Kind of like the Zoom or the GameStop trade we took last week. We had a nice weekly setup. We bought here on Monday and then just flipped it out as we hit resistance at about 40% on contracts that were expiring in June. I think it'd probably be a good call to do something similar in where is it? Crowd. So this is like for a swing trade, this is probably my favorite setup going into next week, based on the things that I've seen since I've been scanning. So and last one I'll give you OKLO. So this one had a good earnings report and had 30% beat on the EPS. And so it was a good surprise. And I think this one is just starting its breakout. I think the what the growth names are coming back for sure, and we've been trading a lot of them, and it's been pretty successful. So I'm looking for to continue to trade those, and I like this kind of gap up, trade sideways pattern that continues to happen here, here, here. So I am looking for continuation in this name. So it does look really good. Um, the move off the bottom, we're up 113%, 15% off the bottom. So that's some very bullish price action right there. So I'd like to try and trade that one as well. So I think that's all I have in terms of setups that I've got. Do you guys have anything you want me to take a look at? Um, so I can take some requests, and if not, we'll wrap it up, and I'll just double make or make sure that I don't have anything that you got or that I might want to give you. So Pony and these names, if you want to take a screenshot of these, you can take a look at these later on. These were ones we ran through in the live trading on Monday or Friday. And these are ones that have made big moves recently, and you can look for continuation in them going into next week. I think that these ones look good for some more upside. So Pony, this one has earnings, but you can take all these, look at them, take a look at them, see what you think. So SPX, we talked about that one pretty extensively. Um, I think so. ES is set to gap down. Obviously, a lot can change overnight. We're down about 70.74%. But and this is going to be the same thing. We're at support here. SPX, keep an eye on 5,900. So as long as we can just keep an eye right there at 5,900. So there's two things I'm kind of expecting this week. It's either we're going to have a pullback to the 9 EMA, or we're going to trade sideways and wait for that 9 EMA to come up to us. So it's either going to be a choppy week or we'll see some sort of quick pullback. So we're just going to have to see what happens. And we're either going to stop and see buyers step in at the 9 EMA, which would be a good sign for continued price action to the upside. But we also have to be aware we could see a pullback to the 21 EMA. Right now, this looks like a lockout rally, meaning like we make a bottom and we get bought up extremely aggressively. Like here, not really there. Here, so that's what you would call a lockout rally. And all that means is that there's aggressive buyers coming into the market, big funds coming in, trying to pour their money into the markets. So when we see this, we don't really want to fight it, but you also have to be aware, hey, 2.5 ATRs right here, that's where we're trading. That's a lot of times the end of a move. That was the end of the move here. That was the end of the move here. So you want to be aware of that. And when you see that, all you have to do is just size smaller and be okay with adding to your position if we do have a move back down to the 21. Okay. So yeah, I hope that helps. Two scenarios. I don't think we're going to keep exploding to the upside. I think that we'll probably have a pullback based on how it's looking right now. We're going to have a gap down and we're going to either trade sideways from there or continue to bleed a little bit back into these moving averages. And then from there, we'll kind of know more. But I'm completely expecting some sort of either sideways action or pullback. And then from there, we're going to continue higher. But I think it's going to be pretty limited on the upside we see. We might make a new all-time high. I don't have an opinion on that. I think it's very possible. And right now, the way it's trading, probably could. But when this put call gets below 0.7, the upside is going to be limited, like I've discussed in countless videos. So yeah. All right. I hope that helps. Is there any other tickers you guys want me to take a look at? Anything else you want me to check out or discuss? Any setups? I think I covered a pretty wide variety of the market here. So you should have plenty to do this week. But yeah, like I said, SPX, QQQ, ES, NQ. Be a little cautious. I expect them to be somewhat choppy this week, or choppy to down. Um, So I would focus on relative strength leaders. So right now, Bitcoin is having a nice move up and we're having a good breakout. So here, maybe you want to focus on MSTR or IBIT, whatever it is. Focus on the names that are showing relative strength and trading up near highs. I am gonna price out potentially buying, getting in some crowd tomorrow and look for continuation breakout and a new all-time highs on this one. But all right, guys. So there's no other questions. I appreciate your time and I will see you guys for the markets tomorrow. Make sure you check out the 7-day free trial for the trade alerts. We have done very well trading the past few weeks. Two red trades out of I think 20. And so you may want to check that out. But all right, guys, thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you soon.